Good morning. We had a couple technical issues, but we're gonna go ahead and get started. Um, Good morning, my name is Jillian Black, and welcome to the Department of Family Services Year-Round Employment RFP webinar. Just a few housekeeping rules. This webinar is being recorded, and due to the volume of participants, everyone has been placed on mute. Please submit questions via the questions box, and we will respond to questions at the midpoint and end of the presentation. Please use the question box to notify us of any additional technical issues. A copy of the recording will be posted on the DFSS YouTube channel with a link to the recording, and a PDF of the PowerPoint slides will be posted to the DFSS webpage at cityofchicago.gov under the alerts and/or funding opportunity tabs. This will take up to 5 business days to upload. Please be advised that DFSS retains the right to share a list of registrants to this webinar along with their contact and organizational information at our discretion. Joining us today is Project Manager Graham Salinger and managers of Family Support Programs, Eshawn Spencer and Lisa Hampton, with our Youth Division, here to provide details and to answer any questions you may have regarding the Year-Round Employment RFP. As for the agenda, we will now go into the purpose, the background and history of the RFP, the program description and goals, current state and priorities for improvement, program eligibility, performance goals and outcomes. We're going to go into the selection criteria, the timeline, technical assistance for applicants, and e-procurement, and then one last round for questions. And with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to the Youth Division.
Thank you. This is Graham Salinger, Project Manager for Year-Round Employment. The purpose of this RFP, the Department of Family and Support Services seeks to engage experienced organizations with a proven track record in providing employment services for youth ages 16 to 24 facing various barriers to employment. The primary goal is to address the challenges Chicago youth are faced with, including unemployment. We aim to achieve this by fostering collaborative partnerships among stakeholders, including employers, educational institutions, and community organizations, with the goal of establishing sustainable solutions that generate meaningful employment opportunities. Selected organizations will partner with DFSS's Youth Employment Team to ensure the successful completion of all stages of the curriculum for this program, which includes assessment, exploration, planning, and execution. This holistic approach includes a combination of online learning, community engagement events, in-person activities, and individualized work experiences. Next slide. DFSS intends to fund between 6 and 10 programs within a specified budget range per year, with the expectation that each awardee will facilitate the connection of at least 50% of youth to viable employment and training opportunities by the completion of the award period. The selected organizations will play a crucial role in advancing our collective endeavors to establish pathways and cultivate a skilled and resilient workforce, thereby contributing to positive economic and social outcomes for the community. This RFP is for subrecipients, delegates, roles in 2 distinct SLFRF projects, each with its own responsibilities for financial management, metrics, reporting, and overall program administration. Background history of year-round employment. Due to the ARPA funding, year-round employment launched in September 2022 as an extension of One Summer Chicago. 300 youth aged 16 to 24 50 in each equity zone, were being served by 5 agencies across 6 programs. You can see in this map the equity zones laid out as Northwest, North Central, West, Southwest, near South, and far South. We had 300 youth aged 16 to 21, 50 in each equity zone were being served by 5 agencies across 6 programs. In September 2023, an additional 300 youth were served by 6 agencies across 6 programs. In January 2024, we added another 300 youth, totaling the number to 900 youth across 13 agencies across 18 programs throughout the city of Chicago. Continuing with background, program outcomes and demographics. A total of 1,913 individuals participated in year-round employment. 68% identified with one or more of the 7 target populations: youth as ESL, youth in foster care, youth who are homeless or unstably housed, youth who are justice involved, youth who are out of school and out of work, which we refer to as opportunity youth, youth with disabilities, and youth who attend a level 2 or 3 or option school. The program offers a comprehensive curriculum focused on career exploration, online training, and a research-based project. This curriculum is divided into 4 stages: assessment, exploration, planning, and execution, equipping participants with vital skills and knowledge. Youth must complete 54 hours of the curriculum, with the remaining time devoted to job training and work-based learning experiences. The program currently works with 900 individuals, all of whom have completed all phases of the curriculum and are transitioning to the next phase of their careers, with the goal of full execution by December 2024. Next slide. Thank you. Here are past delegate agencies we've worked with: After School Matters, Inc., Alternative School Network, Aspire, Inc. of Illinois, Boys and Girls Club of Chicago, Brighton Park Neighborhood Council, Build, Metropolitan Family Services, Northwestern University, Phalanx, SGA, Trellis, and Youth Advocate Programs, to give an example of who we've worked with in previous programming. Next slide. Thank you. Program description and priorities. Employment approach: take a cohort and individual, job placement, or training program. Location: employment sites located city-wide. Recruitment: 50% of all youth must be selected by the lottery for the citywide application portal, given prioritization to youth who identify with one of the 7 target populations. 60% of hires must identify with at least one of the following unrepresented populations, which will be presented on the next slide. Partnerships: provide ongoing communication and monitoring of work sites in permanent employment locations. Youth placement: facilitate youth transition into permanent employment and paid training opportunities. Tracking: track and report permanent youth placement, training program enrollment, and completion. Required activities: ensure youth complete the curriculum, playlists, assessments, youth surveys, and attend all DFSS sponsored events. Staffing: there'll be a 1 to 25 staff to youth ratio for the base cohort, with additional cohorts added. Commitment: 1 year minimum. Program must operate during One Summer Chicago initiative and fulfill all program requirements. Next slide. Thank you. Program description, target populations: individuals with disabilities, individuals attending high schools that are categorized as level 2, level 3, or option high schools, individuals who are English as a second language learner, individuals that are experiencing homelessness or unstably housed, individuals placed in the foster care system, individuals who are justice involved, and opportunity youth defined as out of school and out of work. Next slide. Thank you. Program requirements: youth Youth must be between the ages of 16 and 24 and must show proof of Chicago residency. Youth must complete the YRE application through the One Summer Chicago portal. Youth must be 16 years old by the day the program starts. If under age 18, youth must have a consent form on file signed by their parent or guardian. Youth will acquire new skills through self-guided modules called playlists via the My Shy, My Future platform. Youth will attend DFSS sponsored events, including High Tech Chicago, Firefighter for a Day, and a virtual job fair. Next slide, thank you. Program goals: reduce maladaptive behaviors, implement self-guided mental and emotional health interventions to help youth manage workplace stress, build resilience, and thrive in the employment setting. These strategies aim to reduce maladaptive behaviors and negative thought patterns by 25%. Utilize pre-post intervention incident tracking, to measure the effectiveness of those interventions. Increased focus on target populations. Executes a targeted recruitment strategy to ensure that at least 60% of all hires identify with at least one of the specified target populations, and that 30% of those 60% are from one of the 4 high priority populations. See the section on target populations previously discussed. Establish community partnerships. Collaborate with local and national organizations and companies in industries and sectors traditionally perceived as less accessible for youth with employment barriers, and assist them with securing permanent employment or obtaining a credential through a post-secondary program or training program. Enhance employment and training opportunities. Facilitate the successful transition of at least 50% of youth into viable permanent employment and paid training opportunities by the completion of the award period. 25% of the youth should identify with the 4 high priority populations. Next slide. Partnerships for recruitment that we recommend: child welfare agencies, Chicago public schools, faith-based organizations, mental health organizations, street outreach organizations, Chicago Police Department, community-based organizations, street outreach organizations, Cook County Juvenile Probation, the Mayor's Office with People with Disabilities, DFSS Youth, Homeless, and Workforce Division. Priorities for improvement: enhanced employment operations. Selected organizations are expected to hire youth from March through December, including 6 weeks for the One Summer Chicago initiative. Youth are required to engage in the program for a total of 450 hours for the entire year, including 22 weeks during the academic year for 15 hours a week, 6 weeks during the summer for 20 hours a week, and 84 hours set aside for training and personal development, including 54 hours of the curriculum. During this period, they must complete a comprehensive career readiness and financial literacy playlist designed to equip them with the essentials for future employment. Additionally, youth are required to complete a survey to provide feedback on their learning and program effectiveness, one at the end of the summer and again at the end of the year. This structured approach assures that youth not only gain practical work experience, but also develop critical skills that will aid their long-term professional and financial success. Curriculum administration. To ensure programming continuity, the curriculum will be placed on the MCMF, that's the My Shy, My Future platform, which will enable delegate agencies to manage youth progress and receive reports regularly. Priorities for improvement. Curriculum improvements. 3 new components, overcoming obstacles and preparing for future employment, will be added to the curriculum. To help youth find motivation and reinforce their desire for changes, DFSS is requesting that new coping skills be taught to manage anger and address other underlying issues that contribute to maladaptive behaviors. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, is an evidence-based intervention, and this RFP aims to teach the principles of CBT through the MCMF platform. The focus will be on teaching the cognitive triangle, identifying distorted thinking, behavioral modification, and emotional regulation to help youth become aware of negative thinking, improve self-esteem, develop healthy coping skills, and manage emotions. To increase employability skills, DFSS will integrate job readiness skills into the curriculum that are most applicable to enhance professional growth and career development. These may include communications, teamwork, problem solving, time management, professionalism, resume writing, interview skills, and financial literacy. To ensure effective implementation, selected organizations are expected to set aside time for these new components in a structural format for one summer Chicago. During weeks 2 through 5, 5 hours each week must be dedicated to enhancing the curriculum. For weeks 1 and week 6, the 5 hours are flexible. Time can be used for orientation, with the remaining hours allocated for makeup sessions as needed. Thank you. Use of best practices. DFSS is requesting that selected respondents implement the following elements in their programs to create a more equitable job market that empowers all youth to achieve their full potential. To support youth facing barriers in securing and maintaining competitive employment, selected organizations must implement 4 of the 8 individual placement and support IPS principles: competitive employment, benefits planning, zero exclusion, and preferences. Employees often require job seekers to demonstrate communication, social and work readiness skills, which can be difficult for youth who lack work experience. The IPS approach can help overcome these obstacles and provides the necessary support for youth to succeed in the labor market. To assist youth in finding employment opportunities, it is essential for them to experience the IPS approach. To assist youth in finding employment opportunities, it is essential to establish a strong partnership with employers. This guarantees that youth can access the progress in the workforce. A successful partnership between employers, training providers, and youth can provide benefits to all stakeholders. DFSS seeks to partner with organizations that have existing partnerships with employment programs, employers, educational institution programs, and community agencies, or can establish programs. DFSS seeks to empower organizations that can establish programs that have existing partnerships with employment programs, employers, and educational institution programs and community agencies, or can establish and nurture these partnerships to build a collaborative workforce development network for the youth they hired. To ensure successful employment outcomes, it is crucial to address multiple barriers simultaneously. Providing training and credentials by itself is not enough. Selected organizations must offer comprehensive wraparound support, including transportation and childcare, to enhance youth's chances of success. These essential services can be provided either directly by the agencies or through partnerships with other service providers. Such support is crucial, particularly for individuals who are unemployed or come from low-income backgrounds. By offering comprehensive support, we can help create a more equitable and just future of work. Priorities for improvement. Target populations. 60% of all hires must identify with one of the following underrepresented populations: youth with disabilities, youth who are English as a second language learners, youth in foster care, youth who are out of work and out of school, opportunity youth, youth experiencing homelessness / instability in their housing, youth involved with the juvenile justice system, and as you'll see in bold, 30% of the 60 must identify with one of the 4 priority groups. And we also have a note here about youth residing in census tracts that are greater than or equal to 150% of the city of Chicago average on the economic hardship index. So these are the ways that we'll be measuring the target populations. Next slide. Thank you. Priorities for improvement. Prioritize hires from target populations. In 2022, DFSS implemented a policy requiring that at least half of all hired identify with one of the 7 target populations: youth with disabilities, youth involved with the justice system, those experiencing homelessness or housing instability, English language learners, youth in foster care, youth who are neither in school nor employed, and youth attending CPS schools rated level 2 or level 3, or option schools. In 2022 and 23, youth in these populations accounted for 71.33 and 60.39 respectively of those hired for year-round employment. However, upon further review, it was noted that 3 of the 7 populations accounted for the overwhelming majority, approximately 80% of the 71.33% and 60.39%, meaning that the groups most in need accounted for a relatively small segment, approximately 20% of the target population. So, to further prioritize success for youth in the target population, this RFP increases the overall requirements from 50 to 60%. Additionally, to enhance support for individuals in critical situations who disproportionately experience poverty, encounter barriers to employment, and have limited access to essential services, this RFP requires that at least 30% of the 60% identify with one of the 4 high priority groups: youth in foster care, youth experiencing homelessness or housing instability, youth involved with the justice system, and opportunity youth, which again means out of school and out of work. For more information about the target population, see section C2 below. Priorities for improvement. Focus on training to full-time employment. Delegate agencies should facilitate the successful transition of at least half of youth into viable, permanent employment and paid training opportunities. By the completion of the award period, 25% of all these youth should identify with the 4 high priority populations. Significant changes from 2022 and 24, and now moving forward 2025 and beyond. So in 2024, again, half of all hires from one of the underrepresented populations. Moving forward, a requirement is 60% of hires from one of the underrepresented populations. Previously, we had more emphasis on youth who are justice involved and youth who are out of school and out of work. Moving forward, 30% from one of the 4 high priority groups: justice involved, opportunity youth, foster care, homeless, and instability, and housing unstable. Program pause for One Summer Chicago. You'll see now that program will operate during the One Summer Chicago. Curriculum on SharePoint focused on development of career plan only. As I've discussed, the curriculum will now be on the My Shine, My Future platform, focused on career development, career readiness, financial literacy, managing mental health, and learning new coping skills. 15 hours a week for 45 weeks, totaling 510 hours. Now 15 hours each week for 22 weeks, 20 hours during One Summer Chicago for 6 weeks, totaling 450 hours. Encourage youth to meet transition goals, i.e. post-secondary, permanent employment, internship, trade program, or military. As you'll see now, half of youth are expected into viable permanent employment and paid training opportunities, with 25% of the youth should identify with the 4 high priority populations. So here you'll see those changes. Next slide. And now we will get into the Q&A, and I'm going to let Sean take over for that.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm going to go through the chat and answer the questions. So one question was, will there be a One Summer Chicago RFP? Yes, we will still have a One Summer Chicago RFP. Another question is, can you please explain the 50% lottery selection? So 50%, you can choose individuals that you currently service, that's part of your organization. The other 50% will be part of the lottery. We have typically around 50,000 individuals that apply for apply through the One Summer Chicago portal. and it's the same thing for year-round, for the year-round program. And so you can choose those that are not a part of your program. So the lottery will come up and you can just randomly choose those individuals. The indirect rate is for the RFP is 10%, but the federal rate has increased to 15% since October. Unfortunately, the indirect rate for this program is 10%. So can we serve only youth that are included in the lottery within the citywide application and do not, and not our own intake? Yes, you can also service youth that are part of your program. 50% of those youth can be a part of your program. The other 50% must come from the lottery, individuals that you do not have a current relationship with. If a youth does not complete all the requirements, how much are we reimbursed for the cost of serving them? Is it prorated to their attendance? So the expectation is for the youth to complete all of the requirement. You are reimbursed for the youth wages and any other administrative costs associated with it, such as the food and transportation. So it's not dependent on the requirements that the youth are expected to complete. However, we do want the youth to complete the requirement. Where is your curriculum available for us to review and familiarize with? We can definitely post the curriculum that we use for the last 3 years, so you can see what the curriculum is like. In one section of the RFP, it states the youth who attend level 2, 3, or option school are one of the 7 target populations. And in other sections of the RFP, it states that it's youth residing in the census tract that are greater than 100% of the city of Chicago average on the economic hardship index are one of the 7. So you are correct. That's just an error. So in the past, for the last 3 years, the target population was youth who attended a level 2, 3, or option school. That is no longer viable for this RFP. It will be youth who resides in a census tract that are greater than 150% of the city of Chicago average on the economic hardship index. Thank you for that question. Do 2024 grantees need to apply for this RFP to continue, or are they being carried over? Everyone must apply for this RFP, including those that were awarded in the past for this program. How does DFSS follow up with the organization to ensure the program goals are being met? So for this program, this is truly a partnership with DFSS. When it comes to the curriculum, the required activities, the trips, we meet with all delegate agencies that are awarded monthly. And we have a very close relationship with all delegate agencies to ensure that the young people are completing all of the youth, all of the requirements. So it is truly a partnership, and we'll be meeting regularly to ensure that all expectations are being met. Rather than explaining language in the RFP, this is a presentation of the RFP language. The priority sessions in the particular what's confusing. We was just trying to explain what is being done differently than it was in the past. So that was the purpose of the priority sessions and what we want to focus on with this RFP. The school re-enrollment count, and I'm not quite sure of that question. So if the person that asked that question can go off mute and provide more clarification around that. Until then, I'll go on to the next question. Will stipends be provided ensuring the program to youth participants? So youth will receive wages. They will receive the minimum wage requirement for this program. There's no stipend unless you're referring to the employment supports. There is a $200 employment support for each individual in the program, and this can be used towards some type of education requirement, maybe some trade program. They want to go to barber school, they need clippers, or maybe an individual wants to get a copy of his rap sheet. So that's what the employment supports, but that is completely separate from the youth wages. Will selected communities-based organization receive training in the My Shy, My Future platform to support young people? Absolutely. Not only will we provide training for this platform, then we will have open hours on a regular basis, where if you need any technical assistance or if you have any questions, you'll be able to pop in and get those resources and assistance right away. How many youth per site? So the baseline for this program is 25 youth. That's the cohort size. That is different from how many youth you want to assign to a work site. So for example, you can have 10 youth assigned to work at Walgreens, and you can have 5 youth assigned to a school, or another 3 assigned to your organization. But the cohort size for this program is 25. I would like to be clear, so new organizations will be able to partner with this initiative. If so, we could just complete a RFP. Again, this is another question I need, I'm not quite sure. So if the person can go off mute, that would be greatly appreciated. When does the year start for this program? In January or the start of the school year? This program starts March the 1st and ends December the 31st, 2025. The hourly wage for the staff members, 800 hours, was suggested as $25.35 in the budget session of the RFP. Is this recommended or a requirement? This is a requirement this is what we allow for the staff. You are welcome to use other funding to increase their salary, but this is our recommendation for the salary. This is what's allowed in the budget. Are there 2 RFPs? There's only one at this time. There's only one RFP that has been released. When will we have access to the spreadsheet for this webinar? This webinar will be posted on the DFSS website. My chat is disabled, so I cannot submit via chat. Sorry about that. We'll see what we can do to assist you. Does college entry count for the 50% successfully transition? Yes. So for this program, young people, they get to choose and identify what their transition goal. So you may have some young people choose college. You may have others that choose trade, military, an internship. They get to identify that transition goal. So if someone enrolls in college, that is considered a successful transition. Could an agency be awarded both a year-round award and one for one summer Chicago? Absolutely. You can apply for all RFPs that are coming out, and yes, you can be selected. You can be awarded for each one of them. Can you share more on why DFSS require a 50% lottery? We want to be equitable. We want to make sure that all individuals have the opportunity to apply for this program. So that's the reason why we have that requirement. Will there still be a CYSC program this year? That is the plan. Once the RFP is live, you will receive an email notification. Portions of the slides were blocked by the presenter speaking with the full slides be viewable. Yes, our apologies for that in the beginning. It was corrected, and we will make sure that the full slides are viewable when we post it on the DFSS website. is the goal to place in subsidized employment. So the 50% employment expectation, it is for competitive employment. It is for opportunities that anyone in the community can apply for. So no, we're not looking for them to be placed in unsubsidized employment. Okay, yes, you are correct. The goal is for them to be unsubsidized employment, competitive employment. Is the work required to be all in person? Is a hybrid work allowed? So our goal is for individuals to, for the program to be held in person. We understand the importance of being able to have face-to-face contact with individuals, young people interacting with others in the program so they can learn those social skills. However, we do know that there are some circumstances and situations that do require individuals to work independently or in a hybrid setting. So we will make an exception, but our preference is for individuals to work in person. You are required to get the approval of DFSS in order to do hybrid work. Does the program fund childcare for youth needing that support? No, the program do not. However, we ask that you work with your partners, your organization, to ensure that the youth who need those resources, they have access to those resources. As a new nonprofit able to apply, and does the agency need to be in Chicago? So yes, new nonprofits are able to apply as long as you meet the criteria and qualifications that's listed in the RFP. And agencies, you must have a program in Chicago. The program must be held in Chicago. So that's the requirement. So the corporate office could be held outside of Chicago, but the program must be held in Chicago. Is there a budget cap for the proposal? So the budget cap is based on the cohort size. So someone who applies for a cohort, a baseline cohort of 25, the budget would be completely different from someone who chooses to apply for a cohort size of 50. So you want to make sure for the baseline that you stay within those parameters. I am from City Chicago. How will this opportunity be promoted to youth? So we are going to partner with our sister agencies. We're going to partner with community agencies. We're going to post this. It is through our One Summer Chicago portal, the application. So there'll be a lot of marketing around to ensure that that everyone is aware of this opportunity. Can we use our curriculum that includes the required component? Unfortunately, no, you cannot. You can use your curriculum, but keep in mind that you still have to use our curriculum. Because we have to report on data outcomes, we have to make sure that everyone is using the same curriculum. So can you clarify the table for year-round employment wage and hour allocation? Should we hire staff per cohort, or can we use the same staff all year? So yes, you can use the same staff all year. So what you saw in the table is that because minimum wage is going up again in July, it's currently $16.20. The youth will be paid $16.20 an hour up until the end of June, and starting July the 1st, they'll be paid $16.60. So that's part of the chart. When it comes to the hours, we're asking that youth work 15 hours a week for 28 weeks, with the exception of One Summer Chicago. They will work 20 hours a week. The staff, the youth coordinators, will work more hours, 25 hours a week. And they can work all year round if they choose to. What is the average maximum award amount anticipated? So again, this is based on cohort size, depending on what the agency decides to apply for and what was awarded. Individuals, the minimum is 25, and it can go up and every 25 after that. Will the other One Summer Chicago programs RFPs be posted soon so we can compare and decide on the best opportunity for our program? We are planning to release the other RFPs as soon within the next couple of weeks. I do not have a date at this time. Will there be extra points for those agencies that previously had the program? No, there would not be extra points, but I would encourage you guys to highlight that and talk about your experience with the year-round program. Thank you for the answer. Follow-up question. Will there be a One Summer? Yes, there will be a One Summer Chicago RFP release soon. Do you anticipate these updated target population goals will also be the same in the upcoming RFP? I'm not able to answer that question at this time. In what way is the purpose of this program different from the purpose of Chicago Youth Service Corps? So I can tell you with the Chicago Youth Service Corps, that is a civic engagement leadership program. The focus is for those young people to identify gaps in their community or issues that they want to tackle and come up with a workable solution. Whereas with this program, this program is about putting youth on a career pathways. So it's curriculum based, and we're helping the young people to identify what their transition goal and assisting them with getting on that pathway. So that's the difference. They're both employment programs. It's just one focuses on career pathways and the other focuses on more on civic engagement and leadership activities. As full-time employment, that's an incomplete question, so I'm not able to answer it. Feel free to go back in and complete the question, and I will be happy to answer it. Does school enrollment count as desired outcome for the grant? Yes. So if someone enrolls in a trade program, someone enrolls in a city college or university, that does count as a successful transition of the program. Can selected providers also act as the employer for this program? Yes. So your organization can absolutely hire youth to be assistants, to work in the office, to work with other young people. They can also even hire them to be the youth coordinators. Cohorts of 25 total or per equity zone. So it's cohort size of 25. Does previous awardee grantees have priorities over new agencies applying for the grant? No. What was the budget? Is it posted? What was the budget webinar? Not quite sure. And is it posted on the DFSS website? I'm not quite sure about what you mean by budget webinar, but it is, the budget is included in the RFP, and it's also listed on this PowerPoint. Okay, so it doesn't allow me to come off mute. Thank you for clarifying your question. But I saw you all have already had organizations partner with this particular program. So do we have to partner with them, or can we have our own? You absolutely can have your own program. Thank you for clarifying your question. Can an organization apply for different equity zone? Yes, but you would have to have it's one application per equity zone. So if you apply for the Near South, that would be one application. And if you also want to apply for the North Central equity zone, you would have to have a separate application for that equity zone. Hi, will we provide transportation for the youth all year round, or is it just for the first 3 weeks? So this is all year. This is all year round. How many cohorts can an agency run at a time? It totally depends on what your capacity is and what you are selected to run. So can you explain or expand on youth who are just as involved? Yes. So we are looking for youth who have a history of being involved in the justice systems. So this can be a past or a current involvement. So this is more than just someone who's been arrested, someone that there's been a charge and convicted of. So your budget doesn't include all the benefits costs. Those posted should be, and not 11% for FICA and workers' comp. Your 10% demise will not actually meet the administrative costs, in particular, supervisors' oversight and accounting expenses for managing those youth payments. Unfortunately, we can only allow for a 10% administrative cost. We also encourage agencies to look at other funding resources that they have and to use to help to supplement the needs that they have for this program. Under table 4, for staff calendars, it says 32 weeks. Does that mean that staff only works 32 weeks, or will this be 52 weeks employment? So it is 32 weeks for staff and it is 28 weeks for youth. You have to account that the program is starting in March and not January. And also we consider holidays, Thanksgiving break, spring break, and Christmas break. So that's the reason why we have 32 weeks for the youth coordinators and 28 weeks for the youth. For the target populations greater than or equal to 150 of the city of Chicago average, I'm looking here and do not see indexes over. Where can I find the proper index? John, if you're still on the call, can you answer that question? Okay, looks like John may have left. We will have an answer for you and we'll make sure that it's posted. The RFP says a coordinator can be hired. This can be someone already on our team, yes. But however, you want to make sure that their time, so if you're splitting them between multiple funding sources, you want to make sure that that's stated in your proposal. If our organization is Logan Square, but we want to serve Austin, does that need to be a program site in Austin? You want to be able to, yes, to answer that question. Will there be an RFP for mentoring out of school time, year round, and summer? I will answer that question. I don't know the answer to that, but I will answer that question and we will have it part of the FAQ. If the youth are from Austin, do they need to work in Austin or we place them outside of their neighborhood? So they do not have to work in Austin. They can work in whatever neighborhood they choose to, they want to work in. Should the paid work experience that youth participate in during one summer be the same site where they participate March through May and September, December? That is completely, totally up to you. You can have them do something completely different, or you can have them work at the same work site all year round. Do organizations receive funds or reimbursements for any new staff hire to run the program? So you do have that 10% administrative costs that you can use, but we also do have salary for youth coordinators and leadership coach. So that is completely up to you on how you want to use those funds. Can participants that have had subsidized employment through our ARP program funds still be eligible to have subsidized employment through this program? Can participants that have had subsidized employment through our ARP funds still be eligible to have subsidized employment through this program? So if I'm reading this correctly, we want to make sure that we give as many youth opportunities. So if you have a young person that is part of one program, let's say you applied for, you applied for all four RFPs that are coming out, and you are selected for all four. You want to make sure that if you have an individual that applied for, that is part of this program, they cannot be a part of the CYSC program as well. And also they can't be a part of the SYEP. So we want to make sure we give as many youth opportunities to participate in the program. If I'm asking you a question, feel free to clarify, and I'll be happy to provide more information. Will the answer to these questions be posted? Yes. Will youth in a gang fall in a particular category? So that varies. So oftentimes in my experience, you have young people that fall into more than one of the target populations. So you may have individuals who are just as involved, but they also may have a disability, or they also be part of the foster care system. So you just will have to make sure that you're targeting those different populations. And I don't see no reason why a youth would not fall into those categories. Just make sure that they fall into one of those target populations. When will the awards be posted, given that the start is March? We are looking to finalize this, send out award letters by the end of February. So for the holiday breaks, is it expected that youth coordinators and staff will not work? So we give more hours to the coordinators and staff because they're helping with recruitment, data management. There are other things that they can do. Your coordinators and staff are welcome to work the holidays if that's the way you choose to have them work. That is completely up to you. If an organization proposes a cohort of 100 youth, will they be able to break up personnel compensation to include administrative? Yes. We have frontline staff that works directly with youth and office staff that works in the back end. With each personnel, staff needs to manage their own cohort size, so each be broken up different to account for. So yes, so for every cohort size of 25, there is a youth coordinator, a staff person that is tied. So that means that you're giving a staff person to work with that individual, and that is part of your budget. Thank you. So I think John answered the question. Thank you, John. So someone asked about the economic hardship index, and here's the answer. The economic hardship index data is available for the Chicago Health Alice website. Participant addresses will be geocoded in the CitySpan database to determine if they reside in one of the census tracts that are at or above 150% of the city average. Thank you, John. So a lot of that is going to be done in the back end. It's not something that you would have to worry about and figure out if an individual falls into one of those, into that 150% or above. We have submitted the iSupplier vendor registration. Will we have a response for approval in time to submit this RFP? I am going to allow Jillian to answer that question.
Customer support is pretty fast when in response, so you should have enough time to submit your response to the RFP.
Thank you, Jillian. How does DFS vet organization after grant applications are submitted and received? Will the vetting be strictly off the information of the application, or will there be a visit or interview? It is strictly what is provided in the application. So I strongly encourage you to answer all questions, and any attachments, you want to make sure you include those as well. If the youth is placed in an unsubsidized employment before completing the MyShy, will there be a negative mark? No, there will not be, because the ultimate goal is for individuals to be placed in unsubsidized employment. Great question. Will DFS provide advance payments for youth wages? That is an option. Someone wants to explore that, please reach out to us directly. Is this a reimbursement program? This is a 100% reimbursement program. You would have to provide the expenses up front, and then you can voucher. Monthly is what we encourage, but you can voucher as much as you want to every 2 weeks. And then we will reimburse you within 30 days. When is the application due? The application, I'm going to turn it back over to Jillian. 6.
The application for year-round employment is due February 6, 2025 at 12 noon.
Yes. Thank you, Jillian. Thank you, John. John included the link for anyone who has additional questions about the economic. I am unable to see the questions being submitted. Will a FAQ be published? Yes, we will publish one for you. We will publish one. Will the entire cohort needs to start at the same time, or can we do an rolling enrollment structure? So, of course, we would love for all young people to start at the same time, because you learn from your peers. However, we know that doesn't always happen. Young people come in late because of documents, or they drop the program because of other obligations. So this is a rolling enrollment. However, day one of the program, the expectation is that you have 100% hires on day one, and you want to continue to maintain that 100%. What is the anticipated turnaround for reimbursement? It is 30 days. So as long as you complete the process or the voucher and there are no errors, you will be reimbursed within 30 days, sometimes often sooner than that. We need help with the iSupplier registration. It says we have an account already, but we know we don't. What email is under for that business? I'll email support, but no response. Can someone contact me? Have that email. I'm going to turn this over to Jillian.
Hi, Tammy. The customer support email will be provided later on in our slides. But yes, once you receive that information, please reach out to iSupplier. They should be able to help you.
Okay, so John, someone asked, where's the hardship index link? It's in the chat. Is the RFP available now? It is available. Thank you very much for this very understanding from your presentation. Quick question. Due to quick turnaround, what is the deadline date for 100 hires to be complete? So we will have a kickoff, and we will have all those requirements, but typically the expectation is to have all 100% hires by day one of the program. So if the program is set to start March the 1st, we would like all young people hired by March the 1st. With the caveat, we know that young people drop or things come up. As long as you communicate us with some of the challenges or issues you're having, we will definitely work with you guys to ensure that you meet that requirement. It says that the chat is disabled. Jillian, are they able to see the chat? Someone is getting the message that it's disabled.
So the chat was disabled for the entire webinar for potential applicants due to the volume of participants. So if you do have a question, just put it in the Q&A chat box and we'll answer it. And all questions and answers that were provided will be posted in the form of an amendment.
Thank you for clarifying that.
No problem.
Chat is disabled. Are youth required to have work authorization to participate? Yes, because this is a wage program, youth are required to have work authorization. Yes, thank you. Thanks, guys. I apologize about the chat. just whatever questions you guys have, please make sure you put in the chat and we will make sure that it's part of the FAQ. So once we close, yes, agencies will be notified if they was awarded. If we don't have a grant before late Friday, before late February, how can we have 100% be ready to be by March the 1st? So that was just a hypothetical situation. When we have a kickoff, that's why I mentioned the grant starts at March the 1st. It does not mean that the program will start March the 1st. We will have a kickoff where we will go over the expectations for when all youth will be hired. We will send out an invitation. So for those agencies that are awarded, they will receive an invitation to attend the kickoff meeting where we will explain all of that. Great question. And I think that's all the questions I have. Did I miss any, Lisa or Graham?
I can just add, Ishan. I did
Yes.
drop a response in the chat regarding the RFPs for mentoring and out of school time, school year, and year-round programs. Those RFPs will still be released. We anticipate the release of a mentoring RFP this summer, and we're working on the timeline for the out of school time, school year, and year-round programs.
Okay, I think that this is all the questions we have for now. If you guys have any additional questions, please put them in a chat and I'll turn it back over to, I guess, Jillian.
Graham, I believe is.
It's
Oh,
back,
Graham.
it's back to me. No
All
worries.
right.
And some people ask questions that will also be answered in these slides as well. So guidance for respondents, anticipated awards, right? So we went over those health equity zones earlier when I showed the slides. This is just referring back to those. So for the far south, we estimated giving 10% for the far south, which is 25 anticipated hires for one agency. For the near south, we're looking at 20%, which equates to 75 anticipated hires, which looks at 2 or 3 agencies. For North Central, that's 10%. That's again 25 hires. That would be one agency. Northwest, 10%, 25 hires, one agency. Southwest, 10%, 25 hires, one agency. And West, 40%. That's 100 hires, and that's 3 to 4 agencies. And so that totals 275 youth, which is approximately 9 to 11 agencies. Next slide. Thank you. Program eligibility. This is a competitive process. It's open to all entities, nonprofits, for-profits, faith-based, private and public, all units of government and sister agencies. Respondents must demonstrate their fiscal capacity to ensure it can manage the reimbursement process for the year-round employment program. Respondents may apply as a single agency or in partnership with multiple agencies, where one agency serves as the lead agency for the partnership and other agencies serve as subcontractors of the lead agency. Selected respondents may not earn a profit for their work in accordance with requirements for subrecipients under Federal Law 2 CFR 200 regulations. Respondents who are current DFSS delegates whose existing contracts with DFSS are not in good standing will not be considered. Agencies not eligible include those that have had a city contract terminated for default, are currently debarred, and/or have been issued a final determination by a city, state, or federal agency for performance of a criminal act, abridgment of human rights, or illegal fraudulent practices. All successful respondents to this RFP will be required to undergo assessment of risk potential in accordance with the uniform guidance. Next slide. Thank you. Performance goals and outcomes. Percent of youth will be recruited and placed in employment or attend a training program identified by the agency and entered by agency and city span. That must be 100%. Percentage of youth will participate in One Summer Chicago must be 85%. Percent of youth hired will transition to long-term employment, post-secondary or vocational program or military must be at least 50%. And percentage of those youth who identify with one of the 4 high priority populations must be at least 25%. Percent of youth will identify with target population criteria must be at least 60%, and percent of those youth will identify with one of the 4 high priority populations must be at least 30%. Percentage of youth will receive additional information, support, or services during and after program completion if identified and requested during the program must be 100%. Percentage of youth who will participate in their entrance and exit youth assessments must also be at 85%. Performance goals and outcomes. Continued. Percentage of youth will complete the required training, including the personal career portfolio on ONET interest profile, labor market survey, career development plan, and capstone presentation must be 95%. Percent of youth will complete the tasks and playlists via the My Shine My Future platform must be at 85%. Percent of youth will complete an exit survey at the end of the summer and again at the end of the year must be at 85%. Percent of youth will complete their entrance and exit youth survey and assessment must be at 85%. Percent of youth will complete at least 95% of available program hours must be 80%. Percent of youth who will complete their capstone project must be at 90%. Percent of youth who will work a minimum of 75% of the weekly hours must be 95%. Percent of youth who will be paid on time by agency's payroll system must be at 100%. Selection criteria, community involvement. DFSS will evaluate applications based on the following criteria. The respondent demonstrates a clear understanding of the target population, including their strengths, assets, needs, and challenges. The respondent has developed specific capabilities and/or infrastructure to better serve intended target populations, and the respondent demonstrates client and community engagement activities that inform service delivery. The respondent demonstrates a commitment to diversity, equity, inclusion, and access in internal operations, and its leadership reflects and/or directly engages in the diverse people of the community it serves. Selection criteria, organizational capacity. DFSS will evaluate applications based on the following criteria. The respondent has qualified staff responsible for program oversight and management, as well as quality coordinators to engage with the youth participants in a timely manner. The respondent has adequate systems and processes to support monitoring program expenditures and fiscal controls, including monthly vouchering and budget revisions. The respondent has established effective data collection and management processes to ensure data is accurately collected, securely stored, promptly entered and updated, and consistently monitored. Selection criteria, strength of proposed program. DFSS will evaluate applications based on the following criteria. The respondent clearly defines an employment and/or specialized training to be provided directly or through partnerships, linkage agreements with other agencies that are appropriate to addressing needs and achieving desired outcomes for youth ages 16 to 24 who reside in Chicago and not limited to the target population identified in the RFP. The respondent's proposed program is supported by evidence-based practice, such as cognitive behavioral therapy, individual placement and support, and other proven methods in its youth development, youth employment placement, or specialized training program. The respondent demonstrates an effective approach to recruiting, identifying, matching, and retaining for job applicant employment or specialized programs for youth ages 16 to 24. The respondent indicates that they will hire no fewer than the minimum number of participants outlined in the program description It has a clear understanding of the target population and the high priority population. The respondent demonstrates a strong approach to building a sustaining community partnership and provide a list of existing or planned MOU, memorandums of understanding. The respondents demonstrate evidence of strong past performance in similar youth employment programs or specialized programs against desired outcomes, goals, and performance metrics, and/or other notable accomplishments in providing services to youth ages 16 to 24. The respondent shows evidence of utilizing data to identify areas for improvement, taking action to implement changes based on the findings, and providing an example of how data was used to achieve measurable positive outcomes. The respondent clearly demonstrates the ability to collect and disaggregate data by specific characteristics, i.e. demographics, and provides a concrete example of when a disparity was identified through the process. Selection criteria, reasonable costs, budget justifications, and leverage of funds. The respondent has demonstrated the fiscal capacity, as evidenced by its audit, to successfully implement the proposed program and consistently make youth payroll on time through the entire year. The respondent leverages other funds and in-kind contributions to support total program and administrative costs, e.g. state, federal, foundation, corporate, or individual donations. The respondent demonstrates reasonable implementation costs and funding requests relative to its financial and human resources. The proposed budget supports the program's scope of work and work plan. Selection criteria attachments. Be sure to attach reports, studies, or other documentation that shows performance towards reaching the program goals, demonstrate results and accomplishments, and label them. Be sure to attach a relevant job description that includes required experience for the navigator and program manager position. Be sure that attached all partnership agreements, i.e. memorandums of understanding, MOUs, letters of intent, and letters of agreement. Be sure to attach your organization's budget for this program. Please make sure all program requirements are addressed. Basis of award. DFSS may consider additional factors in selection to ensure system-level needs are met. Geography, service area, language, and ability to serve specific subpopulations. DFSS will make recommendations for the contract award by Healthy Chicago Equity Zones, balancing program locations, the target populations, and demonstrated collaborations. Respondents seeking funding for multiple sites in different Healthy Chicago Equity Zones are required to apply for each zone separately. There are 6 zones. Respondents can only apply for a Healthy Chicago Equity Zone in which they can demonstrate a physical address. Multiple applications by the same agency for the same Health Chicago Equity Zone will not be considered. Each respondent must demonstrate its fiscal capacity to ensure it can manage the reimbursement process. This includes information on access to a line of credit, maintaining cash flow for the reimbursements to manage the program costs, etc. DFSS reserves the right to seek clarification on information submitted in response to this application and/or to request additional information during the evaluation process and make site visits and/or require respondents to make an oral presentation or be interviewed by the review subcommittee if necessary. Failure to submit a complete proposal and/or to respond fully to all requirements will cause the proposal to be deemed unresponsive and therefore subject to rejection. Budget or cost proposals. Contract term is March 1st, 2025 through December 1st, 2025. Based on need, availability of funds, and contractor performance, DFSS may grant up to 2 extensions, each lasting no more than 1 additional year. Additional program activities taking place after December 31st, 2025 may be subject to different compliance requirements associated with other funding sources. Such changing requirements will be identified to the respondent. Indirect costs will be capped at 10% per application. Please submit a budget for 1 year. That's 10 months of services for this RFP. Cost category definitions are attached as budget instructions in every RFP, except RFPs that have cost proposals. Be thoughtful and inclusive when developing your budget. Apply for your program's actual costs. We cannot give you more money than what you ask for. However, we can give you less. Use the reasonable cost questions on the application to discuss how you determine the cost reflected in the budget. Common mistakes we see on budgets are fringes. Check your calculations. Supplies. These are frequently under or over budgeted for. Make sure your job description titles and your job description uploads have the same title. Also, put a brief description of the job in the budget document itself if you have not discussed it specifically in your application. Put your budget in the appropriate column. Deadlines. As a reminder, the applications are due on February 6th, 2025 at noon Central Time. Timelines. RFP was released January 9th, 2025. The due date to submit the proposal questions is January 17th, 2025. Again, that's the due date to submit additional questions, and that is January 17th, 2025. Pre-proposal webinar today, January 14th. Applications due, again, that is February 6th, 2025. And program period begins March 1st, 2025 and goes until December 31st of 2025. Application tips.
Thank you, Graham.
Thank you.
I'm gonna take it from here.
Sounds great.
So a few application tips. We can't stress enough to start your application as early as possible and save it as often as possible. If you have never done business with the City of Chicago, register into iSupplier, also known as eProcurement, ASAP. Please review RFP narratives and application questions closely. Remember that they align with the scope and the selection criteria. Use the information in the RFP for guidance in formulating your answers. Remember to carefully review the selection criteria. There is a 4,000 character limit, which includes punctuation and spaces. Each response is allotted 4,000 characters. And whatever you do, please do not use the back button on your browser. You may possibly lose your work. And again, start your application as early as possible if you haven't done it already, and save it as often as possible. A couple tips for working in eProcurement. To submit multiple applications for a single RFP, applicants will need to set up a unique user account in iSupplier. The eProcurement system is not capable of submitting more than one distinct proposal per associated email address. Therefore, you must use a separate email address for each submission. You can submit your application and later amend it up until the due date of February 6, 2025 at 12 noon. Avoid the rush and possible mishaps by submitting early. Plan on your submission taking approximately 30 to 60 minutes. Please be advised that late applications cannot and will not be accepted. Make use of the procurement hotline for help at 312-744-4357. The hotline operates during business hours only, Monday through Friday at from 9 to 5 p.m. Again, save your application as often as possible and submit it as early as you can. Determining your community area. Selected agencies will serve the community area they apply for, along with their respective adjacent community areas. Respondents must provide their organization's address where they will provide services. The link is listed here to find out which community area your organization is located in. Once you click that link, you click on this icon circled here to type in your agency's address to determine your community area. After you do that, you type in your agency's address and then you press go. And then once you get to the next screen, you look for the blue dot on the map and click on it, and that in your community area will be listed under community. We're going to go through agency requirements at this time. Agencies are required to provide articles of incorporation and any amended articles of incorporation. Agencies are required to submit an IRS affirmation letter. Please be advised that this is for not-for-profit agencies only. This letter must be dated within 60 days of submission. You can obtain this by calling the IRS directly at 1-877-829-5500. If you are a for-profit agency, submit your original letter from the IRS showing your FEIN number. Another requirement is a UEI number must be provided from the agency, as well as a central contractor registration, which can be provided from the entity overview page at the www.gov website. And lastly, a certificate of good standing letter with the state of Illinois is required. As of April 2024, we have a new labor peace agreement ordinance, also known as an LPA. An LPA between an employer and a labor union ensures that an organizing drive is not impacted by union busting techniques, including employee retaliation, and in return, they will not strike or stop work in a way that will impact human services. The new LPA ordinance applies to all DFSS and CDPH delegates with 20 or more employees working for their organization. The only exemption is that this ordinance does not apply to hospitals. The contractor must provide written notice to the commissioner or her designee within 72 hours of becoming aware that employees want to organize or that a union seeks to represent employees. The contractor must enter into an LPA within 90 days of receiving notice from a labor organization that it represents or seeks to represent employees. And for technical assistance, there is a link on the DFSS webpage. Will be a link to the RFP of interest and training, as well as training documents under the alert section of our website. And for questions on registration and e-procurement assistance for delegate agencies, please contact customer support at cityofchicago.org. And you can also contact them via phone at 312-744-HELP 4357. And the training materials, which includes documents and videos, can be found on the cityofchicago.org website under online training materials. At this time, we're going to go into how to enter your responses and how to accept the amendments. Step 1, for entering your response, select Create Quote from the drop-down menu in the Actions box in iSupplier and click on Go. This will take you to the application page where you can get started. If the RFP you are interested in has been amended, in this case, it will be, you will need to acknowledge and accept the amendment to start or submit a response. To accept the amendment, click on View Amendment History, circled here. Next, to begin the acceptance and acknowledgement process of the amendment, you have to follow these steps after clicking View Amendment History. First, you click on the document number. Next, click on the affinity or eyeglass icon to review the amended changes to the RFP. And lastly, you click on the Acknowledge Amendments button to acknowledge receipt and understanding of these changes and then proceed. And by acknowledging the amendment, you are indicated that you are aware of the changes made to the RFP in the amendment. When you get to this screen, you click on the I accept checkbox circled here and then click on Acknowledge. Next, you click on Yes to indicate that you confirm your acknowledgement of the amendment. Finally, you click on the checkbox that you accept terms and conditions, and then click on accept to actually accept them. And this is the final step in acknowledging and accepting the amendment. Next, we're gonna go into how to submit your application once you have accepted the amendment. So at this point, when you're at this screen, you have submitted all of your responses, you've attached all required documents, and then once you are ready to submit, you start by saving your draft response one last time, and then clicking continue. Please be advised, if you are missing information, e-procurement will give you an error message at the top of the page, and they will list what's missing or what's wrong. Usually the error message directs to something left undone in the application. In the last example, the error message indicated that the lines found under the Lines tab had not been completed. In the example on this page, the error is about an unanswered question in the application or requirements section. The quote value refers to your, in this case, missing answer. Once your application is free from errors, you are ready to proceed and submit. At this point, clicking continue should put your application into the review and submit phase. Once you get to this page, this is like the summary page. This is your last chance to review all of your data, review all of the attachments to confirm if everything is accurate, everything is attached. Check your attachments and scroll to the bottom of the screen to see all of your responses. And at the bottom of the screen, you will be asked to provide an electronic signature, but be sure to fill in the signature before checking that box. Lastly, you click submit to submit your application. Once you submit your application, you will receive an email, an automatic notification similar to this on the screen. The e-procurement system will send this email within 24 hours of your submission. However, if you have not received it, please feel free to call or email me if you desire confirmation prior to then. And we're gonna pause one more time for questions.
So we do have a few in the box, so I'll begin reading again and answering. So the expectation isn't to have 100% youth hire by March. That is correct. Once we have the kickoff, we'll let you know what the date is for the 100% requirement. Do all 25 youth need to be from one equity zone? No, but they must work in the same equity zone. When will agencies be notified if they have been awarded? Our goal is to notify all agencies by the end of February. Thank you for the clarification. Can you please describe the different possibilities that count as full-time employment for youth at the end of this program, the Job Corps and apprenticeship programs? So successful transition is more than just full-time. It can also be part-time employment. It can be one of the city colleges, enrollment into one of the city colleges or university, and also a trade program, apprenticeship, or Job Corps counts as a successful transition. Will the presentation from this webinar be made available to participants? And if so, how can we access it? And will it be recorded? Will a recording be provided? And I'm gonna let Jillian answer those two questions.
Hi, yes, a recording will be made available. It will be uploaded to the DFSS YouTube page. Please give it about 2 or 3 days to upload. And there will also be a link on the DFSS website.
Thank you, Jillian. Our office is in Logan Square, but we have a site in Austin. We plan to apply for 2 applications, one in Austin and one in Logan Square. Yes, that is allowed because they both come from 2 separate equity zones. Austin is part of the West Equity Zone and Logan Square is part of the Northwest Equity Zone. That is allowed. I'm an existing vendor registration, the iSupplier platform, but I don't see the RFP. Could you please confirm when the RFP was scheduled to be posted? It has already been posted. You can find it. Jillian, can you answer that question, please?
Sure. The RFP was released January 9th. It should be on the City of Chicago page / e-procurement. Please feel free to reach out to me. I can give you the customer support information. My email is jillian.black@cityofchicago.org.
Thank you, Jillian. Thank you. Can you share the web address where to find? And she just shared that with you guys, and we will also have it listed part of the FAQ. So the program does not serve 900 youth per year. The slide says that is correct. It'll be 275 this year. Is there a list where we can refer to all attachments that would be needed to be submitted as part of this application? Is there a particular order we should follow when submitting attachments in the attachment section of the RFPQ in the iSupplier portal? So you will find that list. It is included with the RFP. If you're not able to locate it, please send me a direct email. That we just need to list the MOUs that was secure or will secure and does not mention attachment, but the presentation just said that we will have to attach. Do we actually need to submit? Yes, you would need to submit all MOUs, letter of intents, for this RFP. And it needs to be signed by both parties. That is correct. Both parties should sign. My organization has an account with iSupplier, but I do not. I sent a message to the helpline last week, but have not heard back. Who can support? I will leave that to Jillian.
Customer support can help with that, but you can also create your own account within iSupplier. There's no limit on the number of accounts for an organization.
Great. And here's another question for you, Jillian. How many hours do you estimate it would take to fill out the application?
I would say it's up to you. I mean, you don't want to do it too quickly because you don't want to miss anything. So I would say start as early as possible so that you're able to read the RFP. You're able to answer every question. Just give yourself the time to fill it out completely and the best as you can. So I would say the number of hours is ultimately up to you.
Thank you, Jillian. Another question. In the iSupplier portal, should we complete the budget in the line section of the RFQ in addition to uploading the template through iSupplier?
Yes.
Will you send the slides?
The slides will be, well, the webinar recording will be uploaded on the DFSS YouTube channel and also uploaded on the DFSS webpage. So that webinar recording will include these slides, yes.
Are fiscal agents allowed? So if you are a smaller agency that do not have the capacity to do the back end, yes, we encourage you to partner with an agent and a fiscal agent. Do the narrative box have space limits? I see a 4,000 total limit.
There's a 4,000 character limit, yes.
Can you please put up your contact again? We will have that information for you. Our IRS letter is dated from many years ago. Do we really need to get one dated within 60 days?
Yes, that's a requirement.
In the RFP, it states that we should submit a current certificate of insurance as an attachment to our application. If we have a current COI with the city that will expire before the end of the project term, do we need to get another certificate of insurance that extends through the end of the project at the time that we submit our proposal?
I will have to check, I will have to double check on this. But the answer will be provided within the amendment.
Thank you. If your organization does not have a building, we host programming at a partner organization, or could the city support funding a space for the program? So yes, that could be part of your administrative, the indirect cost that's part of the budget. What is the address for the DFSS website? Julian?
I believe it's cityofchicago.org /DFSS.
Yes.
I will have to, okay. I have to.
At the top of the header section of the RFQ in iSupplier, there are fields reading, quote, valid until, reference number, and note to a buyer. Do we enter information for any of these fields? And if so, what should we enter?
You should leave those blank.
Thank you. Is this program replacing CYSC? No, this program is not replacing CYSC. Are for-profit organization eligible to apply? Does the organization have to be a brick and mortar? So yes, for-profit organization, some for-profit organization do have a social enterprise or a 501(c) component to it. So yes, they are eligible to apply. Does the organization have to be a brick and mortar? I will have to get back to you for that question, unless Jillian, you have the answer.
No, I don't have the answer for that question. Sorry.
So DFS needs an affirmation letter from IRS for nonprofit organization. Is that in addition to or in place of the 501(c)(3) letter?
I don't have that answer for you right now, but we will provide the answer within the amendment.
How long does it take to become registered as a business within the city of Chicago? If I start this today, will I be fined by the deadline?
I'm unsure how long it takes the city of Chicago to register businesses. I would say please contact, please give them a call. I don't have a definite answer for you for that one, sorry.
The listing you all show with the agencies per area is all that will be granted for that particular area. So if I'm reading this correctly, I'm assuming you're referring to past agencies that operated this program. And if that's true, those agencies have to apply like everyone else. They are not guaranteed awarded. They will not be awarded guaranteed just because they have operated the program in the past. New vendors confirmation question. The full application is electronic and on iSupplier and does not require to submit a fillable PDF application.
Correct. The full application is electronic on iSupplier, and the RFP is attached as an attachment. All All responses have to be submitted via iSupplier.
Thank you. Do I understand correctly? Partnerships, MOUs are required as part of this application. We strongly encourage you to have MOUs, but you can also have letter of intent or letter of agreements. We strongly encourage MOUs. Clarifying question. I heard you state that all 25 you do not have to be from the same, but they have to work in the same equity zone. Is that correct? So if your application is if you were awarded for one equity zone, now if you're an agency that applied for multiple equity zones and you have youth that wants to work in either the South or the West equity zone, that is allowed as well. I have nonprofit that provides mobile services to children. We share a business address with another nonprofit that could potentially apply. Will we both be allowed to apply? I don't have the answer to that, but I will make sure it's included in the FAQ. Is there a way to physically print the RFP? Jillian?
I see, they found where they can print the RFP. They followed up with another comment, saying that they found it.
Okay, all right. Oh, thank you. Oh, never mind, I see it. Thanks, Jillian. How do we get the certificate of good standing letter from the state of Illinois?
I believe it's the sam.gov website, if I'm not mistaken.
If our organization has two entities, one a 5013C and one 501c4, could we apply for each? I don't have an answer to that, but I will make sure it's included in the FAQ. Are any letters of support required? No, but it's highly recommended. Are we required to submit proof of MOUs? No, but it's highly recommended. sam.gov is federal. Is that correct, Jillian?
Yes, that is correct. My apologies for that. I will provide the actual website within the addendum. Are we,
I think that's all the questions I have.
Okay. Well, listed here on the slide that's presenting now is our information. So for program questions, please reach out to Eshawn Spencer at 312-743-1287. She also can be reached at eshawn.spencer@cityofchicago.org. And then for non-programmatic questions, the e-procurement hotline is excellent. With non-programmatic questions, they're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 p.m. and can be reached at 312-744-4357 and at customer support at cityofchicago.org. And you can also reach out to me. My name is Jillian Black. I'm the procurement proposal coordinator. And I prefer that any questions can be sent to my email address, which is jillian.black@cityofchicago.org. And does the youth have any closing statements?
We do not.
Okay, thank you all for attending our webinar for year-round employment. And good luck on submitting all of your applications, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Take care. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Was